Oh man, I got myself in a jam on this one.
Take me back to South Texas roots, where my heart belongs, where my heart belongs. Take me back to South Texas roots.
What's up guys, welcome back to another episode, another early start to the day. Got up about 4 o'clock, already had a few cups of coffee, catching up on a little bit of YouTube. But as you heard, I got myself in a jam. It's all about how you deal with things. They always say when one door opens, another one closes. And in this case, you can take that literally because I got one door open while the other one's closed. So surprise, got myself some interior doors. But I wasn't lying when I said I got myself in a jam. Now, like I said, I'm not a professional. Things don't always go smooth. It's about how you deal with it and overcome some of the obstacles that you face when building. So with that being said, initially on this house, I was planning on going with 36-inch wide doors. Now, I figured I'd give myself about a ½ inch on each side, and unfortunately, I needed about an inch on each side. So the framing had to be tweaked on here. These are actually 32-inch doors instead of 36-inch doors. Initially, I wanted 36 to give myself plenty of room for a wheelchair access later on in life. If you don't know, I got a missing leg, and at some point I'm gonna end up in a wheelchair when I get older. Hopefully it's a long ways away, but for the time being I do use crutches. It gives myself a little bit more room to get in and out of the doors, but unfortunately I didn't make it wide enough, so I had to overcome the jam that I put myself in. No pun intended there, but actually yes, there was a pun intended there. So anyways, what I did, I went to Lowe's, looked what they had in stock. They had some 32-inch by 80-inch doors, and what I had to do was scab on 2 additional 2x4s to make the gap right around 34 inches, which is what it was telling me that I needed for the rough opening on a 32-inch door, which gives me a little bit of room to shim everything out, shim the tops, the bottoms, the sides, everything, just to make sure everything fit in there as good as possible. So you can see back over here, the bathroom door. You know how exciting this makes me to actually be able to close a door. I was telling Matt, he was actually over here helping me install this one, and just trying to hold up the top part up here to make sure I can get it all level and shoot into the wall and everything. And I told him, I said, this will make Mom's life a lot better over here. If she needs to go to the bathroom while at the house, she doesn't say, hey, I'm going to the bathroom, don't come over here, because I didn't have a door at the time. So anyways, y'all get the point. I got some doors and I'm very excited. These are just prime doors, got them at Lowe's. They're only $99. They are hollow, so it's a little bit lighter. I went with that instead of doing the solid ones. I didn't want them to be too heavy. So also picked up some hardware, as you can see on this side over here. Got these on Amazon. I believe it was $24, $25 for 2 of them. So thought that was a pretty good deal for the matte black. That's all my hardware. That's the color I'm going with. You can see over here, this is where I scabbed onto the bedroom wall. Added in an additional 2 2x4s, and I made everything completely flush on the hallway side. Now the wall is a little bit thicker because I used some tongue and groove on the other side, so I'm gonna have to figure out a little bit of the trim work and try to get a little crafty with it. I decided to put a tarp up there to cover up the attic space. I was actually looking at on Amazon this morning, just trying to get things rolling, get ahead of the game, and I was looking at the pull down ladders. That's what I'm going to go with here in the attic to access the attic space. And I was looking at a few of them, and I think they said they needed to be the rough opening of 22.5 by 54 inches long, something like that. And the 22.5 should fit basically between the rafters going across. I think that's what they are if they're 24-inch on center, if I read that right. So anyways, like I said, I had to overcome this. This side should be nice and flush. I'll have to go back in and just add a strip of drywall in here, which is not a big issue. This will be covered up with wood trim anyway, so that's, like I said, not an issue. Same thing on this side over here. Well, if you can see it, but add in a strip of drywall right there, and then I'll put the trim over the top of it, so you really won't even be able to tell that technically that I made a mistake. So with that being said, like I said, this handle, they're about $13 a piece, $12 a piece, something like that on Amazon. You can either go down with it 45 degrees, or you can also go up with it 45 degrees. And then we go inside the bedroom, and I got the dog. What's up, Tuck? Can't even sleep in my own bed because these dogs like to sleep in here. But what's up, buddy? My old man, he's turning I think he's turning 7 this year in December. Already getting a bunch of gray on his underside there. What's up, buddy? And then Miss Needy over here, Miss Daisy May. Good girl. But yeah, that makes me happy to have a door in here. Like I said, I have the tongue and groove on this wall. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to make a little bit of trim work up here. Some kind of custom trim work to go around it. And you can see on this side where, like I said, I scabbed on the 2x4s. I'm gonna put, I have some extra tongue and groove. I'm gonna go ahead and run it through my table saw, whatever the distance is here. And then also the height of it as well, and stick it in there, and that should be nice and flush. And then the trim will go over the top of it and cover it all up. But anyways, very nice to have doors. You can see over here, this is my closet. I initially made it, I believe, let's see, here's 32 inches. So I have a good amount of distance in between. Initially I was gonna go with the 36, so I think I made it, I think this wall back here might be about 40 inches wide. So it was plenty enough for a 36-inch door, but now I have a 32-inch, so it gives me a little bit more space there. So if I wanted to put some hooks or a long mirror or something right there, I can without anything being hit. And then once again, if I don't want the dogs in here, just close the door now. Having these dogs is like having kids. If you're a parent, which I'm not, anytime you go to the bathroom, you have your door open, or if you didn't have a door like myself, the dogs are always coming in, just like kids are always bothering. I always see videos online of moms trying to go to the bathroom to hide from their kids while they're using the bathroom, and the kids are always sticking their hands under the door or opening the door up and all that good stuff. But I don't have them, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, need to add in the hardware on this door, and then I'll officially have 2 working doors and be able to enclose each of the rooms. On the last video, you saw me coming in here mudding everything. I was asking for some advice, and went over to mom and dad's to check in on them, and dad gave me some advice as well. I'm gonna make the mud just a little bit thicker, that way it covers everything a little bit better. But this was 2 coats in here. I'm gonna go over it once again. I might do that today. I'm gonna use the bigger tool, the wider one, make everything a little bit wider. But first things first, I gotta add in the hardware here, drink another cup of coffee, and then we're gonna check back in, and we're gonna do a little bit of mudding on this video as well. All right, I've actually decided that I'm gonna go ahead and try to install the hardware on camera. I'm gonna do a time lapse of it. I'm gonna see how long it actually takes me to do it. I'm not gonna have any talking or anything, so I'll just fast forward as I go, and I'll basically have a timer on my phone and see how long it takes me to actually install it. I'm gonna try to take my time enough to make sure I get it right, but I also wanna see how fast I can get this done. So once again, those are the handles there. That's all the hardware. All I need is just a simple drill, screwdriver, and a bit. I'm gonna pre-drill where all the screws are gonna go so I don't splinter the wood. And then once again, that's all I got. So anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna put you guys down on the tripod, install this. Comment down below how long you think it's actually gonna take me. I'm not gonna try to do any kind of edits or anything, just speeding it up, and then we'll have the timer started, and then I'll stop it right when I'm done. 3, 2, 1. All right, there we go. 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Oh. Took me a little bit longer because I had to hand tighten on the screws in the back. That's what took the longest part of it, but just something simple. See, it's locked, or not locked, but locked in place. It's not opening unless you turn the handles, and I decided not to go with ones that had locks on them. There's really no point. If I'm living here by myself, or if I have people over, they just know when somebody's in the bathroom, don't go in there. Just have a little common courtesy. So anyways, yeah, a little over 6 minutes to install it. Like the way it looks. Once again, you can turn the handles up, down, boom, got myself some doors. I'll go ahead and close this one once again. And like I said, I'll have to fix this section up here at some point once I actually get the ladder in, but very nice to finally have some interior doors. Like I said, got myself out of a jam, and like I said, when one door opens, the other one closes. In this case, they both close, so yeah, very cool. Very excited. It just changes the look up of the hallway. It kind of gives it more of a finished look. And like I said, I just need to start framing up there here soon. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more mudding here in the next week and a half or so. I'm gonna order the dishwasher just little by little. I'm not made of money. I can't afford to buy everything all up front. So each paycheck, I just do what I can, and then do a little bit of stuff in between. So like I said, this total cost for the 2 doors, including the frames and the handles, you're looking at probably about $250, something like that, plus taxes. So maybe 270-ish, 275, something like that, including like I said, the hardware, the doors, and then I had to buy shims, and also am including 4 2x4s that I had to use to shrink the frame of the rough opening. So once again, do your research. That was my bad. I take full responsibility on it, and you know what? You got to do what you got to do, and I overcame this situation, and now I have 2 doors. Just got to add in a little bit of drywall on each side, and you'd never even know. So anyways, now I'm going to take a quick break, drink some coffee, and then we're going to get to doing a little bit of mudding in the bathroom. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I got done right now. I completely forgot that I have other plans. I need to go over to Mom and Dad's. Matt and I are going to go to Lowe's, pick up some supplies. They're having some issues with their skylights leaking. Luckily, there's not supposed to be any rain for the next couple of days, so we need to get up there and get that fixed, which is a lot more important than me trying to do a little bit of mudding in the house. So I'm not going to show that over there. I don't need to show every single thing that we do. I mowed and weed eated my yard yesterday. I went to Mom and Dad's, mowed and weed eated their front and side yard. Just stuff like that that I do off camera that you may not see a lot of work on the actual video, but there is a lot of stuff being done outside of YouTube. So anyways, basically that's all I got for this video. Once again, got myself out of a jam. Do your research, take your time with things, and learn from my mistakes. Luckily I was able to fix it. Wasn't too much of an issue to try to add in a couple extra boards, get everything shimmed up, and shrink the roof opening. But yeah, very pleased with the progress so far. Like I said, it makes a huge difference. Even though it may not feel like it to you guys, this is a massive change for me. Just being able to close off the doors and get the dogs out of my room for a little bit, give myself a little bit of privacy in this house, and also for Mom when she comes over here, she could just shut the door now and not have to tell everybody, get the hell out, I gotta go to the bathroom. So anyways, I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm gonna go, like I said, go to Mom and Dad's, go pick up some supplies, and get up on the roof and start working on that. Hopefully we can get that fixed and it won't be any more leaks whenever we get the next rain. So appreciate you guys for watching, I really do. Believe there's a couple of packages waiting for me at the post office. If there is, I'll go ahead and incorporate that on my next video on the side channel. I think you guys kind of enjoy that. So anyways, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Take me back to South Texas roots, where my heart belongs, where my heart belongs. Take me back to South Texas roots.